another song then? Do you want another song? Are you ready?
Oh really? Native Berliner.
Yeah. But then I lived for 2 years in Ireland and Scotland.
Oh really? Oh, that sounds like fun.
It's more fun than living in Berlin, I would say. Don't you feel afraid being on stage?
Afraid?
Yeah, and seeing all this crowd there clapping and just going mad, going out of their head.
Sometimes you feel a little bit responsible and it feels a bit strange, but you're usually too busy enjoying yourself. I think the best thing about this band is that we actually enjoy it all. And, we've been friends for well over 10 years, and to get on stage for us is fun. You know, I mean they're my 4 best friends in the world. So you know, to jaunt around the world and to be able to play your music in front of a lot of people with your best friends is the best way I can think of spending my time.
So I mean, it was for a little while was quite well, not very noisy about you. You couldn't hear much about Spandau Ballet. And now you're coming back with such an impact of power.
Yeah.
What was happening? Yeah.
I mean, we sort of made a conscious decision after the Parade tour, which finished in middle of '85, to really take our time on this album. Obviously, for six and a half years, we've been constantly singles, albums, tours, and we felt we wanted to take, step off the roundabout for a little while and make an album in our own time. I think we felt confident enough to do that because Spandau, like it or not, are a very established band now. There's very few bands I can think of that have been around for this long. Certainly none from the sort of 1980 period have remained as solid as Spandau. There have been personal changes in all the big bands, or they've split up, such as your Durans, your Culture Clubs and people. So we've been quite a constant factor. I don't think we felt any trepidation in sort of leaving it a year. I don't think Spandau Ballet live or die by their last hit single anymore. I think there's a history to the band, and people will look forward to a quality Spandau album now. And, I don't think we have to rush singles out and panic about the singles market anymore. I think selling albums and playing concerts is far more important to us now. So what we did, we went to Dublin in Southern Ireland, got away from it all, and wrote and rehearsed the album for 6 months. We set up all the equipment in an old disused theatre. It was really sort of getting back to basics. I think we felt that we'd never really represented the band properly on vinyl. During the Parade tour, lots of people would come up after shows and say, the song sounded much better on stage than they did on record. And I think in a lot of circumstances that was true. So what we really wanted to do was to capture the Spandau sound much closer to what the live feel was. So we felt we weren't representing ourselves properly. So we sort of went back to quite a traditional way of working. I mean, we've never really been a band to do demos or get too involved in technology in studios, but we just set all the equipment up on this little stage and worked the songs out as a live band. So Through the Barricades as an album was played live before it was put on record. And when we came to record it in Munich in the beginning of '86, we really wanted to just put that excitement down on tape. And I'm a lot more pleased with this album than anything else. It sounds like me playing drums. It sounds like there's some vitality there, and I'm actually hitting things hard. And there was some sweat poured over it, Well,
I noticed that you don't play Simmons on stage.
No, I mean I used Simmons for a couple of years on stage. We've never actually used it on record. We've always used acoustic drums. But back in 1981, it was a very new thing, and I was the first guy to take it out on the road. So consequently I ironed out all the bugs and found out all the faults in it. But no, it's nothing like the real thing. And it's nice to be back hitting things with other things. I mean, drummers are pretty basic really at the end of the day. And I think that's what the band, the band is, we've always been a very traditional rock band.
Although it was once, well, it started more or less off what was called the New Romantic.
Well, lots of people called it the New Romantics. As far as we were concerned, we were a band. It was quite frustrating in the early days to have people write about what shirts we were wearing rather than what music we were playing. Because we've always taken ourselves very seriously as musicians. As I say, it was upsetting in a way because a lot of press sort of put forward the view that Spandau Ballet were a lot of clothes horses who couldn't play. And we've always taken our music very seriously. And out of all the bands around today, we're one of the only bands that I can think of who've never used drum machines, never used sequencers, never used a lot of machines in their music. Everything's been sort of sweated over and rehearsed and practiced. And it was quite hurtful to hear people say that we were really no good. I think that's changed up now because we've done a lot of touring, and anyone who's seen us on stage, appreciates that the band can play. And there's a great spirit about the band, because we get on so well, we enjoy it. And I think concerts are about an exchange of energy, and if you're giving out a lot, the audience is giving out a lot, then that's the best thing in the world.
Has to be seen yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully as people have seen. I mean, I think there's a great sway back towards live music now. I mean, especially post Live Aid. People are sort of getting a little bit sick of sitting at home watching TV and watching video images. I want to actually get out and be involved again, and actually feel the music and be a part of it. I mean, it's strange in that video is one of the conventions that we help sort of build up. Back at our inception, I suppose we wanted to do things a little bit differently and wanted to stand out. And video, obviously, we were one of the first of sort of multimedia video bands. We were brought up on TV rather than radio, as the bands of the 60s were. So obviously, visuals were a way that we wanted to go. And I remember when we released our first single, we were pleading with our record company to give us the money to make a video, and they said, "Oh, it's not worth it," and this, that, and the other. It's a lot of money. And finally, we persuaded them to make a video. 6 years on, Through the Barricades, we decided that we really didn't want to make a video for the song because we felt that the song stood up much better on its own. And the record company was saying to us, "You must make a video." So, in just quite a short space of time, the video has become a complete convention, and everyone makes videos. And it's strange, we were caught in a trap of our own making. But as I say, for us, playing on stage is the most important thing.
Well, the times changed, the band changed as well. I mean,
most definitely.
Would you say that in a way you became more political?
Political? I think bands.
A song like "You Have to Fight for Yourself," "We Have to Fight for Ourselves," or
that's like sort of personal politics, really. Yeah.
I don't mean political.
No. I think the band. Yeah. I mean, I'm 27 now. I was sort of naive 18, I suppose, when the band started. I think it became more aware. I think bands of the 80s are generally much more aware. I mean, something that Band Aid and Live Aid proved. I mean, there was never anything like it in the 60s. Everyone always says the 60s people were very politically aware and bands weren't politically aware at all. Their only excuse was to drop out and sort of, sing about peace and love and not really do anything about anything. Something like Live Aid was the biggest thing ever. And I think bands of the 80s are much more aware. Through the Barricades is really just a love song. It's like a Romeo and Juliet. But it was certainly, Gary, we visited Belfast when we were living in Ireland, and it was certainly a big influence. It's really a love song set in a situation of conflict. Obviously can be applied to the Catholic Protestant in Ireland, but just as easily to a mixed race relationship anywhere in the world. So it's nicely ambiguous, I think. I think it's a bad thing to tie yourself down too much and be too rhetoric about it.
Well, how can you cope with the power you've got? When I looked at the kids yesterday, I think if Gary or whoever would have said start running or start doing that, I think they would have done it.
Yeah, right.
So how can you cope with the power you got?
It is quite awesome, mate. You just mustn't abuse it. Hello, mate. All right. You just got to be aware of it and not abuse it. I mean, I hate all these bands who sit out there and use music as a soapbox, and these so-called political bands. I mean, if you want to change the world, politically, then you should become a politician, not stand on stage with a guitar. I think, hopefully we've got a power to make people enjoy themselves, and that's satisfying to me. And to get your music across to people is obviously what you want to do as an artist. I think we've always made music that we enjoy first and foremost, that the band enjoys. I think that's the only way to have any sort of longevity, is to remain, I know it sounds corny, but to remain faithful to what you believe in. And I think that's why our music has changed an awful lot over the past 6-7 years, because we're keeping ourselves interested. If we were still doing cut a long story short type material, I think we would have grown bored of it a long time ago. And the other obvious big factor is the fact that we've got a very good songwriter in Gary. Also, I think we've all tried to improve as musicians. So, it's a growing process, and hopefully, I don't think you should ever admit you made your best album. I mean, there are things now I change with Through the Barricades. So come the end of this year, when we start to think about a new album, I'm sure there's lots of things we'll want to put down on vinyl again. And also playing live is very inspiring in that way. When you're out there playing in front of a lot of people, you think of a lot of musical ideas that you wouldn't think of in a rehearsal studio. There's nothing like a crowd to inspire you.
Well, when the show started yesterday, I saw what's happening now. I mean, it's a symphony, and it looked like Nostradamus, spaceship starting off.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
So I thought it might be in the wrong concert, it might be Pink Floyd or something.
I was actually listening to Pink Floyd last night in bed.
So,
yeah,
it was just for a gag, or?
No, it's production. I think, if kids are going to pay £10 or whatever a ticket, then you should give some of it back. I mean, there's lots of bands.
But wouldn't you feel better, let's say, if you would play like a real traditional rock band, put up on stage all your things, your gears, plug in the guitars and start on?
Because
that would be real traditional.
Yeah, and I'm sure we could do it. I mean, the band is strong enough, and the two most important things in any concert are the band and the audience. And I agree, I mean, we could do it without all the tinsel, but I think people now expect a certain level of a show, it's not the 70s anymore when you can stand up there in jeans. And I mean, I saw the Springsteen show a couple of times, and I thought it was good, but I thought it was far too long, and I thought it was overrated. I think it's a very good rock show, but I don't think he's God, and yeah. I mean, I prefer Clapton. I saw Clapton the other day as well. I think he's much better, so he can play the guitar. But I mean, before we've never really concentrated too much on the show. The last show we took out the parade tour was only 200 lights or something. This year we have spent a lot of money and time and effort on production and lights. But I mean, I don't think it takes anything away from the band. I mean, it's just enhances it, hopefully. And when you're playing big arenas like this, you've got to make the band look bigger. There's lots of people way back. And you've got to make the show look interesting. And I think the lighting setup was designed by Patrick Woodruff, and who's doing Tina Turner now, and we're very pleased with it. What was the sound like?
It's a great sound. Marvelous sound.
So we've got a new sound engineer.
It was loud, but it was still you could understand every word.
Right.
He's saying
Well, that's great. I mean, it's strange as it may seem, it's always the most difficult for us to see what it sounds like, obviously, because so we haven't got a clue. But we're working with a guy called Lars Brogard this year, who's done the Rod Stewart last year, and we're very pleased with him. I don't think people take sound engineers seriously enough in life. Everyone always talks about producers on record. No one seems to ever talk about sound engineers at live concerts, and they are your producers, every night. So you have to work very closely with them. And I don't think there's any excuse nowadays for any band to get a bad sound. So many bands say, oh, this is a terrible venue, you know, and write it off. I think if you can spend the time, you should be able to get a good sound in any place. I mean, none of these big halls are made for rock music.
Well, I think in Berlin you got hard work to do with that.
Really?
Yeah. Because the Deutschlandhalle is a terrible place, very bad acoustics. So.
But then it's up to us to get it right. We're playing there.
I think you have to do a very long sound check there.
And we do. I mean,
echo from behind.
Right. I mean, we played this big railway station, a disused railway station, and converted into a venue in Manchester, in England. And it's just one of those big old sort of 1800s arch buildings, and they just stuck a glass wall at the back. And like, we got in there and like you hit the snare drum and it goes back, you know. So we just got in loads of drapes and draped the whole hall, you know. And you really got to take your time and do it, because you know, it's no excuse to the kid who's sitting halfway back that it sounds crap. I mean, you know, there's no point in saying, oh well, it's a bad venue. It's not his fault.
That was a great concert yesterday with everything, with lights, performance, sound.
I mean, you know, we work hard at it.
Well, this year, absolutely, I think one of the best, if not the best concert I've seen.
Thank you. Let's hope it stays that way. Let's hope Berlin's even better.
I hope so. Although I know it's very hard in the hall there.
But yeah, we thrive on it.
Berlin is a very strange city. You never know what happens.
Yeah, I mean, it's very much an island.
Yeah.
Our closest thing I ever get in Berlin is Manhattan, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, Manhattan isn't part of America.
Yeah.
You know, it's an island on its own, and I always feel Berlin's a little bit like that.
Yeah.
It's a little bit of the West sitting in the middle of the Eastern Bloc.
Well, it's the only place in the western part of the world, wherever you go to the east.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. We're actually going to do some concerts in Eastern Europe. After we finish in Holland, then we obviously go to Germany. Then we're going to do some concerts in Yugoslavia, Hungary, and hopefully Poland, which would be very interesting because we've never done that before. And then, where else are we off to? We're going to finish off Europe, do some Spanish football stadiums. We're going back to Italy. We've done a lot of success in Italy.
So Rotterdam, will that start for the continental European?
Yeah, it's the start. Yeah, we started the tour back in November in Italy.
Ah, you started already?
Yeah, we started in Italy, did a month's work there, and then we did the British tour just before Christmas.
So Italy was just a pre-tour, pre-check?
It was, we'd cancelled a few gigs there at the end of the parade tour because Steve hurt his leg, and also the album had done phenomenally well there, Through the Barricades, on release. So it was a good place to start off. We were playing very big shows there, so it was a good place to get the show into shape, really. And so we played England, and then we had about 7 weeks in England doing bits and pieces. We'd filmed a show at the NEC in Birmingham on 35mm cameras, digital sound, so we had to mix all that, put that together, which will be released as a long format video, and various other bits and pieces, press and stuff. So Rotterdam's the first leg of the European stuff. We were like kids before Christmas getting back on the road because I really miss it. Excuse me.
For yesterday, I thought of asking you the same old questions of why is Spandau Ballet called Spandau Ballet? But after the concert, I know why it's called Spandau Ballet.
Yeah, the old chestnut.
Beside of that, let's do a bit of history, because kids always wanted to hear it from the musicians itself, not from the person who does the show.
Just read the biography, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the bands that we got together at school. We all went to the same school except Martin. And Martin's Gary's brother, so we knew him anyway. And we started playing together in the school music room, literally, back in 1977. Not taking it that seriously, it was just a laugh. And then it started to get a bit serious. Steve Dagger, our manager, was another old school friend. So it's very incestuous. I think we did it in the right way. We were friends first, then we were musicians, and then we were business partners. So, you know, money's always the lowest on the list, and the bottom line with the band is always a friendship, and it's like a sort of brotherly thing, which helps a lot, especially when you're on the road, because, you know, like it on, you know, I mean, it sounds terrible, the pressures of being on the road, and, you know, the main pressures of having to get up in the morning and not wanting to go to bed at night, you know, that's the main pressures you run into. But it's good having all your mates around you, and it means that if ever there's any sort of discussion or argument in the band, it means you can put your point of view as forcefully as you like. And, you know, I can be shouting and screaming at Steve or whatever. I know he's not going to walk off and leave the band or anything, because, you know, it's too close-knit for that. It means everyone can put their point of view as strongly as they like. We all got some jobs and stuff after school, bits and pieces, and then we decided to throw in the jobs because it wasn't happening. And we were very lucky. We got the record contract through. Could work for Steve Dagger. It was nice to have him as a guiding light. I mean, he'd never managed anyone before. He was learning the business just as we were, and there was a big buzz about the band in London, and we went and auditioned record companies, which at the time was very radical. I mean, I think we did a lot to change the record company band relationship. Before, it was still a big hangover from the 60s. You know, we're the record company, you're the band, and you work for us. This is the contract, you sign it. And we said we weren't having any of that. And you know, we sort of threw the standard contract away and said, look, this is what we want. Main things were things like total artistic control. We didn't want record companies telling us what to play, what to release, and we got all that. It was pretty bold at the time. And lots of record companies were very freaked out, especially confronted by Steve Dagger, who was then 22, 23, and a band who were sort of 19, 20, storming into EMI boardroom and stuff, and they would say, well, great, who do we talk to? And we say, you talk to us. You know, there was no management, you know, 40-year-old management, and the thing is, done. You know, a lot of bands since have done very well and have I wouldn't say copied that, but have certainly learnt from that, and that's got to be a good thing. So we got the contract, and the first single was a big hit, especially in England. I mean, when I was 18, I never thought I'd sell records outside of London, let alone outside of England. And you know, suddenly the band, you're going to do TVs in Germany and TVs, and it's all a bit strange. And from then on in, the rest, they say, is history, you know. Obviously, we were lucky, and to have our first single was a hit, and, you know, it puts you on the right road. And everyone immediately thinks you're sort of rolling in money. I mean, you know, to get the misconceptions out of the way, when you sign a record contract, they don't give you any money, they lend you the money. It's just like a bank loan. They lend you some money, and hopefully you can go off and make some money for them with that. It's purely, you know, an investment for them. And we never sort of made any money for 2.5, 3 years, even though we had quite a lot of success. It's just like getting a small business on its feet. And then, I mean, the first album, Journeys to Glory, was very much a first album. I mean, the songs we'd had for a long while, and you go in the studio, and it's this amazing studio, and you don't quite know how to work it all, and you just put it down on tape as it comes out, really, and then the learning process begins.
Well, if you think about all the years you've been now in the band and playing alone, doing all these different songs, if you had to decide 3 songs which are your most liked songs, best songs, which one would you say?
I always get a little bit prejudiced by, especially being on tour, because like you always tend to pick the ones you enjoy playing on stage. But as far as significant songs, I suppose chart number 1 would certainly be in there. It's still a lot of fun. And then you always tend to pick newish stuff because it's sort of closest to your heart, and Man in Chains from the new album, and How Many Lies. I suppose they'd be my three personal favourites at 1:15 on the 1st of March. Anything could change in the next half hour.
Maybe I should ask in the next half hour.
Yeah,
again,
sure. But I mean, that's one of the most difficult things about doing the show now is what songs to put in. I mean, there's quite a wealth of material. And also, when you do put them, I mean, you can't drop stuff like Cut Long Story Short and chuck them all on. You know, not that we'd want to, but you start to play it like you did 2 years ago on tour, and you go, this sounds a bit naff. So with all the old songs, we tend to like pull it apart and put it back together again. You know, hopefully a little bit better and a little bit more modern sounding. Because, you know, I mean, like it or not, Cut Long Story Short is quite an oldie now. And, you know, hopefully we sort of, with the version on stage, we bring it a little bit more up to date.
So what will become of Spandau Ballet? Will you, like the Rolling Stones, maybe be playing with 50?
I don't know. I mean, I remember being sort of 17, 18 and seeing Jagger, who was 35 or whatever, think to myself, God, old fart, why is he still doing it? Why hasn't he given up? He doesn't need the money. Now I'm 27, I sort of understand it a bit better. I could see myself giving up the TVs and the pop glam bit of it. I can't ever imagine coming off stage one night and saying that was the last gig. Playing live is, you know, the adrenaline rush is the best drug in the world, and it's something I can't ever imagine giving up. I don't know, ask me in 10 years' time, I suppose. I think that as far as the band's concerned, there's a lot more to achieve. Many bands lately seem to have split up and gone their separate ways, and I think that's because they obviously weren't fulfilled within their bands. I think everyone in Spandau has their own department, and what they do very well. And I don't think there's any feeling of jealousy or anything. I mean, I don't write songs purely because Gary's a much better songwriter. I mean, if I came up with a song that was good, I'd put it to the band. But, you know, songwriting is a bit of an art and something you learn and get better at. And any time I sit down with a guitar, I always feel a bit of guilt and think to myself, well, really I should be sitting behind a drum kit because that's what I do. And that's what I should be concentrating on. And leave the songwriting to Gary. And, you know, everyone knows their part in the band and everyone, I think, feels very fulfilled. And there's any need for people to go outside the band to fulfill their needs or creativities. There's still a lot more to achieve. I think Spandau always wanted to take things to the top. I think a lot of bands tend to bottle out at certain stages in their career, and they don't want to play a Wembley Arena because I don't know. I think it's frightening in a lot of ways with a lot of bands. They're scared, and they keep going on about, oh well, we want to remain a cult band and we don't want to sell out and all this crap. Spandau have always wanted to be the biggest. I think it's like, you know, if you want to become a professional footballer, you want to play in the World Cup. You know, as far as we're concerned, we want to play, you know, the biggest stadiums. We want to sell the most records. We want to get our music across to the most people in the world. I don't think we've peaked. I don't think we've made our best album. I don't think we've played the best concerts yet. So I don't think we'll rest until at least we've given it our best shot. There's still, I mean, I don't think we've had the success in Germany that we feel we deserve or feel we could achieve. So we're very much looking forward to coming to Germany. You know, there seems to be a very good buzz on the band at the moment. The album's doing pretty well. And I think How Many Lies will do well as a single. But I think the key to it is to get out there and meet the German public face to face again, because I think that's what we do best, and I think that's the best way that we can. I was going to say sell the band. I think that always sounds a bit crass, but just get ourselves across to people. So I mean, I can't see it finishing for many years yet. Obviously, the rest of the year is mapped out. We're going to be on tour till September, I hope. Europe, we're going to be playing Europe till June, and then a lot of the summer we're going to be concentrating on America, because I mean that is one big slice of the world where we certainly haven't done as well as we should have. And I think with this album we're going to make a concerted effort. So the rest of 1987 out the way, then I suppose we'll think about recording in 1988. But again, I mean, as you get more popular and all around the world, the time lapse between everything tends to get a lot bigger, and I don't think that bothers us anymore.
So we talked about rock and roll and drugs, adrenaline. I don't mean real drugs. So what about sex, which is the third kind? Which of the groupies in the world are the best?
I don't know, being completely celibate myself.
I just noticed some of them just yesterday.
Yeah, there's a few about.
It's always funny seeing them around. They belong to rock and roll. Rock and roll wouldn't be the same without them.
It's part of the business. I always used to think it was this big rock and roll myth about, as soon as you finish the show, then you go out and party all night. And I used to think, it's just a bloody excuse. But, here we go, perpetrate the myth. After playing in front of 9,000 people last night, it's very difficult to come home and sit in your hotel room and read a good book. So you do tend to get some music going, get some people in, and have a drink till about 6 in the morning.
Like today?
Like last night, yeah. Well, no, it was about
I was wondering when they told me the interview should be after the show. I said, wow, you can't believe that. I can't believe that.
No way. No way.
Before it would be okay, but after.
But then it's always better to talk to people who've seen it, and at least they know what you're talking about. But yeah, we tend to stay up and party a lot. It tends to be a party every night. Yeah, Tony's very good because obviously he's got to look after his voice. But I think that's why I chose the professional drummer, because it means if I can't talk in the morning, it doesn't really matter too much.
Very, very strange question maybe for a rock band. But anyway, do you have a special food? A meal you really like best?
Me personally, I don't know. I used to be quite fussy about food, but travelling the world for 6 years, you tend to broaden out your taste a bit, I'll eat most things now. I suppose curries. I suppose I could murder a curry at the moment. Good Indian curry. Most of the band are well into curries. Three guys in the band don't eat red meat, not including me. I'm a real McDonald's merchant myself. But apart from that, I suppose curry would be the favourite food of the band. And Jack Daniels is the favourite drink.
Makes some sense. It makes like Bill Wyman and.
I don't know. Yeah, Jack Daniels is another sort of rock and roll.
Jack Daniels in charge of the band.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a very uppy drink as well. It's a very sort of speedy drink. So not that we drink very. We have one glass a night and that's it really. But we never drink before we go on. We're pretty conscientious and quite professional.
I've seen you're drinking Spa in the concert, during the concert.
Well, I might have a beer here and there. Oh no, I can never imagine. It was all very well for people like the Faces and the Stones to just get completely drunk before they went on. But I could play that stuff if I was drunk. It'd be a bit difficult to play our sort of show if you didn't know what day it was, The show is quite coordinated, but there's plenty to go wrong, and does, And that's the thing I think people like to see. They like to see people actually playing, and they like to see it if a string breaks or if something goes wrong, because it makes it human, it makes it real, I'm sick to death of music at the moment that is switch the Lindrum on and it's, just washes over me completely.
And like souvenirs, like throwing sticks in.
Yeah, it is very traditional and old-fashioned, and it's strange for such a modern band as Spandau, a band that has sort of pushed forward a lot of new ideas, to be sort of going back to that. But I think it's right. I think it's what people want. It's certainly what we want, and that's what really counts.
So So, in a very traditional manner, I would like to thank you for the interview.
It's been a pleasure talking to you, and look forward to the party in Berlin.
Me too. So I just would like you to, if possible, to do a station ID.
Yeah, of course,
Yeah?
of course.
So the station is called Rias 2.
Rias 2.
That means Rias 2.
Yeah, my German's not too bad. And we've made 2 albums in Munich,
Yeah, of course.
so I can sort of order a meal and get in a taxi, okay? Okay. Hello, this is John Keel from Spandau Ballet. You're listening to Rias 2, and we'll see you in Berlin very soon.
Tomorrow. Because the show is
Okay.
on the day before your concert.
Hello, this is John Keel from Spandau Ballet. You're listening to Rias 2, and we'll be on stage tomorrow night. I'll see you there.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.